Every time you open a news app, you see the same barrage of headlines. Artificial intelligence exploding, NVIDIA stocks surging, and geopolitical tensions rising around Taiwan. But memorizing company names and stock prices is learning the industry entirely backward. To understand why chips matter, we have to start at the absolute bottom. The entire ecosystem exists because of one incredibly basic need. Humans wanted a way to make machines process information faster than we could. The solution they found was electricity. By letting a current represent binary states, on for 1, off for 0, any piece of complex information, whether it's an image, a sound, or a calculation, can be physically mapped to millions of electrical signals. The entire trillion-dollar chip industry is built around that single engineering challenge, converting raw electricity into controllable human logic. Early computers tried to control these electrical states using vacuum tubes. These were massive, fragile glass cylinders that consumed enormous amounts of power and generated a staggering amount of heat. The solution to that heat and scale was the transistor. A transistor does the exact same job as the vacuum tube, acting as a microscopic gatekeeper. It simply controls whether electricity flows or whether it stops. Engineers could have built these tiny switches out of many materials, but silicon won the war. It has the inherent physical property to seamlessly alternate between conducting a current and completely blocking it. A single transistor by itself doesn't do much, but wire them together in specific patterns, and you create logic gates. These gates take in simple inputs and output mathematical decisions. Arrange enough of those tiny firing gates in the right sequence, and you get smartphones, global stock markets, and satellite navigation systems. For decades, the dominant brain of these systems has been the CPU. It is built to be a highly versatile, general-purpose thinker, executing different types of tasks one step at a time. Graphics processing units, or GPUs, were built with a completely different architecture. Rendering video games requires calculating millions of pixels simultaneously. Instead of one sequential pipeline, GPUs use thousands of parallel pipelines. That layout is optimized for massive matrix multiplication. Decades later, researchers realized that training artificial intelligence neural networks requires that exact same type of massive, simultaneous calculation. The multi-trillion-dollar AI explosion we are living through is the result of a mathematical coincidence. The hardware built to render video game graphics perfectly matched the math required for artificial intelligence. To make these calculations faster and consume less power, engineers are bound by Moore's law, spending the last 60 years relentlessly shrinking the physical size of transistors. Today, a single chip holds billions of transistors. Fabricating them requires manipulating matter at the atomic level. At this scale, a single microscopic dust particle landing on a wafer will completely destroy the circuitry. The ultimate bottleneck in this process is how you print wires that small. Standard light is physically too thick to draw the lines. The industry had to invent lithography machines that use extreme ultraviolet light to trace circuitry measured in nanometers. The relentless demand for computing power has pushed humanity to build the most highly constrained, complex manufacturing machines on Earth. Building just one of these cutting-edge atomic fabrication plants now costs tens of billions of dollars. The physical requirements are so extreme that no single corporation can afford to execute every step of the process anymore. The global industry fractured into 3 highly specialized layers: fabless designers who own the intellectual property, foundries that manufacture the chips, and suppliers who build the complex tools. This intense specialization created a brittle supply chain. If one supplier misses a shipment, worldwide production halts. Over the last 30 years, Taiwan mastered the foundry layer better than any other nation, with TSMC anchoring an incredibly dense engineering ecosystem. Today, the advanced chips required to run military systems, global finance, and cloud computing largely come from that single island. The semiconductor industry produces the literal infrastructure of the digital age. It is humanity's ultimate mechanism for turning raw physics into civilization.